Hi guys, today I want to show you how to make these little cute fondant kitties. First of all, you will need some white fondant depending on how big you want to make the kitties and also whether you want to make just one or two. You will need enough fondant for, well, for the kind of kitties you want to make. So what I'm doing here, I'm kind of modeling them quickly, so just modeling the body and then the head to see the proportions and also that I will have enough fondant for both. So just do that roughly. I don't have any measures for that because you can make any size you want. So now I have enough fondant for 2 kitties and I'm just gonna soften the fondant a little bit. And then what I'm going to add to it is some tallow powder. The tallow powder helps to make the fondant kind of a bit drier. So if your fondant is really soft, then this helps with modeling so that the parts don't kind of squash under each other, and you also don't need that much time for drying the pieces. Of course, then when they dry quite hard, and well, I don't know how good they are then if you really want to eat them, but I usually make my fondant decorations just for decorative purposes. So then you want to mix the tallow powder in well, and if you're making 2 kitties like I'm doing, then divide the fondant into 2. Then again roll that fondant and divide that also into 2, because one part will be for the body and the rest will be for the head, the ears and the tail. Then you want to roll out the part for the body, and yes, I forgot my cornstarch and powder sugar dust, so I'm just gonna dust my surface a little bit and my hands. And then I'm gonna start forming the body. So just like I'm doing here, in the same way you can form the body, and then you can shape it with your fingers. So we want the front to be quite straight, but then the back kind of to form the spine. Also, if you're wondering why am I using gloves, it is not necessary, but because it's very warm and my hands get very warm, this just helps the fondant first of all to stay clean so that I don't touch it with my sweaty hands, and it also protects the fondant from the heat, so the heat from the hands is not in direct contact with the fondant. So here I've shaped the body, it's ready, and now I'm gonna make kind of the features. So with this fondant tool you want to make this kind of shape. It kind of will look like the body when you make the feet. And then with a little spatula or with a wooden skewer or a wooden toothpick, you can make these shapes that I'm making. So we are making the feet and then we are also making the shapes for the paws. So this is a very simple design, so we are not making all the body parts separately, but we're just making one, like the middle part of the body, and then just pressing the shapes into it with these different kind of tools. Then I'm just shaping the back paws just a little bit so that kind of it looks like they are there. And that's it, it's ready. The next thing you want to do is to flatten the top a little bit and then pierce a wooden toothpick through the body. This will help us attach the head. Then you want to cut out a little piece from the rest of the fondant and leave that aside, and then roll out the bigger piece to form the head. I'm first just roughly forming the head and trying it on to see whether it's the right size or whether I need to change it. Also, you can start shaping the head a little bit at this point, but don't shape it too much because we will still take it off and shape it at a later point. Here I also noticed, because the head is very big, it's quite heavy and it leans backward. So I'm gonna add a couple of more of the wooden toothpicks to give it support. Now I'm using this other fondant modeling tool with a ball at the end to make the holes for the eyes. And then using the same one I used previously to make the mouth. Then you will need a little bit of black fondant to make the eyes, so just want to take little pieces, roll them out and try whether they fit in the holes that you made for the eyes. Just try them, so place one and then you can remove it. You want to make a second one that is exactly the same, and then once they're ready you can attach them with a little bit of water. I always prefer shaping and modeling it on the figure before actually gluing it, so that I can make sure that it fits perfectly. Then you will need a little bit of pink fondant to make the nose, and we are making a tiny triangular nose. Somehow I always find attaching the nose a little bit of a challenge. So don't worry if the same thing happens to you. You can still shape it once you've glued it on. So again, with a little bit of water, attach the nose. And as you can see here, it didn't quite go perfectly. So I'm trying to shape it first with my hands and then with the small spatula. So the small spatula comes in handy at this point, or also you can use a wooden skewer to help you shape. Once you're happy with the face, you can attach the head to the body. So first I'm just going to attach it almost until the end. Actually I pushed it through the end at this point, but you want to push it almost to the end. And then you want to brush a little bit of water in between the head and the body to help it attach better. Once you've brushed with the water, you want to really push the head into the body and then start shaping it. So don't worry if it goes like into a ball kind of shape, you can still shape it once it's attached. So I think it looks kind of cute already, but you can't really tell which animal this is. So we need to make the ears now. So the fondant that you left aside, take a little piece and start shaping the ear. What I do, I just roll it into a ball and then I squeeze it so that I can shape it into this triangular shape, the shape that the ears are. It took me a little bit of time to shape it here because I've noticed that the fondant was getting dry already. So if you're making 2 or also with the part that you leave aside, roll it in some cling film to make sure that it doesn't dry too fast. Because we added the phthalo powder, it's gonna dry much faster than normally. So again, I'm modeling on the ears before I kind of decide that they're perfect. And then also you will need another wooden toothpick divided into two to hold the ears in place. So I'm piercing the parts of the toothpicks into the head where I want to place the ears. And just to make the ears a little bit cuter, we are going to add a little bit of pink on the ears. So you will need a little bit more pink fondant. What I did, I just rolled that pink fondant into a bowl shape and I attached it on top of the white part of the ear with a little bit of water again. And then once you've attached it, you can press it a little bit and form it, but really I think it doesn't need to be any specific shape, so it can be this kind of just kind of random shape. Once you've shaped both of the ears and they're ready to be attached, brush the sides a little bit with water where you are going to attach the ears and then just attach the ears. Also, if while attaching the ears you notice that they lose their shape, then you can again shape them once they're on the head. So no worries if you squeeze it too hard and it loses its form, you can still reshape it. Oh, and yes, we are missing something else, so we are missing the tail. So take the rest of the white fondant that you have left aside and roll it into the shape of the tail. So I want to make one end bigger and then smaller or thinner to the other end. Then you want to roughly shape the tail and attach it. Well, first, as always, model it on and see if you're happy, and then attach it with a little bit of water. Now all of the parts that need modeling are done and the rest is going to be painting. So first I'm using this pink dust, strawberry pink dust, just with a dry paintbrush, and I'm dabbing it like this to get the most of the paint off the brush. I need just a little bit, and then I'm gently brushing it on the spots where I want the cheeks to be. So I really want to be gentle here. That's how you get just a little bit of paint and it's not really popping out. Then you will need some black dry paint mixed with a little bit of water and a really tiny paintbrush. Now we are going to make the whiskers. So somehow one side was looking perfect and the other side I just didn't like it. I couldn't deal with it and I didn't want to leave it like that. So what I did, I took another paintbrush which was clean and I removed everything from the other side. So you want to take a little bit of water, just remove the paint with a clean paintbrush and then dry with paper kitchen towel. You can see it's perfectly clean, like there was nothing before, so I can remake that side. But just one thing, you want to leave it to dry completely before you continue. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to make the eyelashes because this is a girl kitty. So I'm gonna make the eyelashes, and then I noticed the other side was dry already, so I could repaint it. So here it is. I think she looks really cute. It's not finished yet, but you could leave it like this. If you want to make a single colored cat, then this would be the point where it would be ready. Then if you want to make a boy cat, then I would just suggest to leave the cheeks and the eyelashes. That's how I think it looks more like a boy cat. So at this point, if you don't want to add anything else, you can leave them like this. But because I wanted to make some special cats, some special kitties, inspired by some specific kitties of our family, I decided to also add some black paint and make the coloring of those specific cats. So if you want to make something like that, you will need again the same black dry paint that we used for the whiskers and for the eyelashes, and you just want to start painting the shapes on. When you're adding the first layer, don't worry if there is a lot of white still visible. You can then at a later point cover that once the first layer has dried. Also, you want to make sure that you're not using too much water, so just enough water that the paint becomes kind of paintable so that it's not too dry to paint on, but also you don't want it to be really liquidy because then it's not gonna really cover anything and it's gonna crack while drying. So just enough water to mix the paint. So now that my first layer has dried, you can see there is some white still peeking through. I'm adding a second layer. Again here, careful, don't add a lot of water because then it will just kind of peel off the paint. So paint just those parts that have dried already and with the same kind of paint consistency that you added the first layer. But if you notice that the paint is kind of peeling off, just leave it to dry a little bit more so that it's completely dry, and only then add the next layer. So here my kitties are ready, and They are looking really cute, aren't they? They are still, you can see the black paint is shining kind of at some places. That's because it's not completely dry here when I was filming it, but once it's completely dry, it's not gonna shine, and it will be dry to touch. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please don't forget that thumbs up for support and subscribe for some more fun tutorials and delicious recipes. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye until next time.